Today, I'm going to briefly touch upon some pretty revolutionary news that will be affecting those homeowners who plan to sell their homes in the upcoming months, in the upcoming years. In the last few weeks, there was a lot of turmoil in the world of real estate, and the turmoil was brought on by a lawsuit against some pretty big real estate brokerages by a group of homeowners who said that they should not have been forced to pay the commission for the buyer agents. This lawsuit made big waves in the world of real estate because up until now, the standard practice was that the sellers pay the buyer commission and the seller commission from the proceeds of the sale. So this lawsuit challenged the need for the sellers to pay for the buyer agent commissions. And after several days of hotly discussed within the real estate community deliberations, the jury found against the brokerages and in favor of the complainants who filed the lawsuit. So that is maybe for you doesn't mean anything, but let me quickly tell you that if you are a homeowner who is planning to sell your home, pretty much starting from maybe the beginning or the middle of 2024 and forward, this might have really serious implications to your future sale. So what are the, and before I go into the details of the implications, let me just say that the jury ruling was issued yesterday, and the judge has not reviewed it and has not finalized it yet. And of course, typically in cases like that, there are appeal process, might go to the Supreme Court, who knows? But for right now, without knowing anything else, what we already know that the fact that the jury found in favor of the homeowners or home sellers already is a huge event in its own. And also there are 4 or 5 similar lawsuits in other states pending against different brokerages. Some of them are against Keller Williams, some of them are against Coldwell Banker, some of them are against other brokerages. So long story short, the success of one lawsuit spurred packets of lawsuits being filed in different states. What did that mean to the world of home selling and to the world of real estate? Well, this ruling in favor of homeowners and home sellers appears to have a very bright upside to the home sellers who plan to sell their homes in the future. And that upside is potentially they may not need to pay the buyer agent commission, or if they are going to pay a buyer agent commission, it might be structured differently than it was structured before the lawsuit was filed. Because now, based on the results of the lawsuit, there's probably going to be a domino effect affecting legislature, affecting Supreme Courts in different states, ruling how then buyer agents would potentially be paid, and maybe the courts would provide clarification, because this current ruling, basically it said the way that you were charging commissions to the seller in the past was incorrect, and the jury agreed, but this ruling does not really provide what is the correct way to do that. So the upside of this ruling is that the old way of paying the buyer agent and the seller agent for at least right now, until the appeals been filed, until the Supreme Court reviewed the case, it appears to me that all the brokerages woke up in a complete disarray. All the real estate brokers who were doing their traditional 3% to the buyer agent, 3% to the seller agent, they woke up not knowing what to do now based on the result of this lawsuit and how to continue to provide assistance to home sellers and home buyers. So that means that in the future, based on the outcomes of appeal courts and Supreme Court's review, you as the homeowner and as a home seller might benefit by paying either less commission to the buyer agents or no commission to the buyer agents. It's still not clear how that may be structured in the future by local courts. But the downside of this potential disruption is that until all those little court cases, so I'll just say this particular court case, the name of the court case or the name of the case was Sitzer-Burnett lawsuit. So the Sitzer-Burnett lawsuit was just one out of 3 or 4 similar lawsuits. And that one was, I believe, in Louisiana or Missouri. And there are additional lawsuits being filed similarly against brokerages in other states. So each state will have many states will have their own lawsuits and then potentially implications for different solutions provided by the legislature. So the negative implication for this finding yesterday is that for the next foreseeable future, which is anywhere between maybe 4, 5, 6 months to a year, there might be a great amount of chaos among real estate brokerages who would be very reluctant and very hesitant to do anything that could them involve in a lawsuit of a similar kind. And therefore, because there's uncertainty right now, what are the legal implications of this are, there is a great degree of disagreements between the brokerages of how to handle the situation. Now, another implication of this process is that if the sellers who used to pay their broker, their agent, to sell the house for them, could simply tell the agent, let us know when the showings are, let us know what people want us to do, present the offers to us, etc. This system might be disrupted because if it is not clear to the buyer agents how they will get paid at the end of the transaction, then it is possible that the buyer agents may just, number one, ask the buyers to pay them in case they are managed to get the house for them. And number two, maybe not even show homes for now. They will just not work on that business because they don't want to work without knowing if and how they will get paid. So the implications is that even though it appears like a great situation for the sellers, in reality, it can turn out to be a logistical nightmare because the only way for somebody to sell a home is for somebody to buy a home. And if a home buyer is told that on top of the high interest rates, on top of a large monthly payment that they need to be able to afford, and on top of their closing cost, and on top of their down payment, they also need to pay their buyer agent at this time, it is very likely that many home buyers will either say, I can't afford to pay a buyer agent, therefore I will just not shop at this time and I'll wait and see until I can get the buyer agent for free again. Or they might find some kind of a solution where they are not able to view the homes anymore because buyer agents are not able to open the doors for them. And they may be attending open houses only, or so in general, the buyers might be discouraged by the additional cost that this decision seems to be putting on their shoulders. Because remember, in 2022 and 2023, we had quite a bit of a slowdown in the home pricing and also in the home buying activity because of the increased cost of the purchase. So this article that I pulled out this morning says jury finds NAR is short for National Association of Realtors, and brokerage is guilty in a landmark commission suit. So right now, the article said the verdict does not seem to require any change of rules at this time, but if the class action attorneys had its way, the buyer representation, which means the commissions for the buyer, for the buyer agents, would very much go away. And that means that many first-time buyers and many other buyers who just don't have, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash could not afford to pay to be able to continue the purchasing process. So that may mean that in the next, 6, 12, whatever, however long it takes for all the states to come up, because right now I'm a real estate agent, and a lot of my activity and a lot of the processes that I utilize to represent buyers and sellers are regulated by Texas Real Estate Commission, which is a legislative body within Texas government. So I must follow the Texas Real Estate Commission rules. And this specific ruling seems to be going against some of the current rules that we as agents were told to follow by the legislature. So until all of that is resolved within the legislature and the National Association of Realtors and the various lawsuits, it is unclear how this will impact the number of buyers looking to purchase a property. And what happens when the number of people looking to purchase a property goes down for any reason, be it a increase of interest rates, increase in the amount of down payment that they need to bring, or in this case, an additional cost to pay their own buyer agents. So anytime the number of shoppers decreases, the market becomes more stagnant. It becomes harder to sell homes faster. And those agents or those buyers who are still able to buy, despite the recent rule change, because they're paying out of their own pocket to the home, to their agent potentially, they might want a decrease in home prices. So again, all of this is currently just a speculation. Nobody really knows what is going to happen. I'm just alerting you that there is a big disruptive change that happened yesterday on November 1st, 2023. If you are at all kind of want to follow how it all plays out in the court system and what are the final outcomes of at least initial round of lawsuits and reviews by appellate courts and Supreme Court, let me know. You can just either respond to my email that you received right now, or if you're watching this on YouTube, just click like and subscribe, or just like on this video. But just be aware that if you are planning to sell in the next few months, as of right now, because the appeals, various appeals that will be inevitably filed, will take some time to play out. We know that at least for the next months, 2 months, 3 months, however long that takes, the system will probably continue to remain somewhat stable, although many agents will now be very worried about engaging in business at all in order not to become involved in a lawsuit of that kind. So for the next few months, I would expect that not much change will happen because different court cases in different states may potentially become like one big agglomeration of challenges, legal challenges to the current state laws that maybe sometime next year will start to be resolved by either Supreme Court or the state courts. So until that is done, we probably will see some disruption, but not widespread disruption. But whatever months that it is next year, 2024, when all of these disruptions will start to reach a critical mass, so to speak, the disruption in the real estate business, which is run by brokerages, may start affecting home prices, whether positively or negatively, I do not know yet, and I don't think that anybody knows. And it might affect the speed with which homes are sold. So if in the past you could put your house in the market, your agent worked with buyer agents to arrange showings, to collect contracts, to negotiate, now that might all be in question. So both the stability of home prices and the procedural elements of the sale and the duration, like how long it takes for an average house to sell, might all be changing. So if you believe that that change is potentially could backfire and create additional complications and inconveniences, my recommendation would then be act to potentially think about selling now before disruptions take place. If you believe that those disruptions may be more positive than negative, then maybe adjust your sale timeline, if you plan to sell at all, to wait out until the biggest amount of confusion and legal mess are over, which might be a year or so from now, and then see whether you want to sell at that time. So that was my update. Again, feel free to research on your own. This lawsuit is called Sitzer-Burnett lawsuit. And if you want to Google it, you'll probably find a ton of information on that topic. In the meantime, if you have any questions about what to do now, how to proceed with the sale, how to make the most benefit out of a situation before things start to potentially become more complicated in the market, let me know. I will try to answer the questions the best that I can. Thank you so much. My name is Elena Garrett, and I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Central in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. I'll talk to you all soon.